See, as I was talking in question number 4, that you must not be using any complex mathematical formula to solve any of the questions of UPSC CSAT. If you're doing that, you might get stuck in recalling that complex formula. If you have studied that in JE time, or you might end up, there is a possibility that you might end up recalling a wrong formula, or maybe applying it not rightly. So this is a perfect example of that question, perfect example of that type of question where you might get stuck. If you have prepared for JE or any engineering entrance examination in past, then you might have had solved this type of questions in permutation and combination chapter, where you would be giving something certain, like certain equations like this: x plus 2y plus 3z plus 4w is equal to some number, and you have to find integral solutions. X, y, z, w greater than equal to 0, non-negative integral solutions to this equation. You have a formula for this type of questions. You use that formula and you get the answer. So this is a similar question. The question is saying that in how many ways can a batsman score exactly 25 runs by scoring single runs, fours and sixes only, irrespective of the sequence of scoring shots. Doesn't matter in which sequence the shots are being taken by the batsman. So what this mathematically, if we write it, what does this question look like is that you have x singles runs that he has scored, then he has scored y fours, so 4 times y, and then he has scored some z sixes. He has scored z sixes, and this should sum to give you 25 runs. So exact same question, but what would happen is that if you are if you have prepared for any engineering entrance examination and you are trying to recall the formula to solve this, you might end up not getting the right answer, because there are the formula here varies. There are many formula, yeah, and they vary case to case. From case to case they vary, so you might end up recalling wrong formula. But you were compelled to use such sort of formula during JEE time, because JEE questions were different types of problems, and the complexity of the questions used to be on the tougher end, and you were compelled to use such sort of formula. Here you are not supposed, you are not asked, you must not be using those formula if you're writing this exam, because you might end up at the wrong side, and even if you are not expected to use, hence that's why this question has been given, and the complexity is not that much at you would have seen in JEE questions. So let's solve this question, because you without using any complex formula. First of all, I'll talk about as I had talked about in the previous question, how to think about these kinds of problems, how to begin the process to solve the question. How will you think about this problem? How will you start thinking in the right direction? So this is the equation that you have created. Just think about the limiting variable here. Limiting variable here, when I say limiting variable, is the one where the possibilities are less. Possibilities are less as in the number of variations in that variable will be minimum as compared to others. So just focus on this, you will get to understand what I'm trying to say is that what I'm trying to say is that x, if I talk about x, if batsman has to score only singles, he can score 120 up to 25 singles. By only singles he'll be able to then 25 runs he'll get. But on the contrary, if I think about sixes, that is 0 sixes, or maximum he can score 4 sixes. So variability here is less, ranging from 0 to 4. Here variability is more, ranging from 1 to 25, sorry, 0 to 25, right? So if we start considering possibilities, as in cases, different cases, if we start making, so this, if I take sixes wale scenarios, then we'll be having 5 cases, right? If we start with singles wala scenario, we'll have 25 cases to take into account to solve this question. That's what I was that's what I meant when I was saying limiting variable. So this is the variable which is limiting you, as in giving you less number of cases as compared to other variable. Z is giving you less number of cases. So let's consider Z and start making cases, different cases, and we'll be able to solve these questions very easily. Solve this question very easily. So Z, case 1, batsman did not score any 6, 0 6. It means Z is equal to 0. Now think about the possibility of force. Y is equal to, Y could be 0. How many Y is possible here? How many Y is possible here? So Y could take up values. Y could take up values up till 6. When there is 0 sixes, then you are left with 25 runs to score, because we have not hit any 6. You can score 0 fours and rest 25 singles. You can score 1 4, Y is equal to 0, Y is equal to 1, and rest 24 singles. Likewise, maximum you can score how many fours? 6 fours and 1 single. So how many ways, in how many ways are you able to score 25 runs? In this first case is that, so y is taking value from 0 up until 6. So you have 7 ways when you did not hit any 6. Case 2, you have hit 1 6. In this case you are left with how many runs to add is 19 runs. So y z is equal to 1. In this case y will take values 0 up until 3, right? So how many ways we are sorry, not 3, it's 4. Y will take value up until 4. Last value, in case of last scenario, you have 16 plus 3, 19 runs. So how many ways? 5 ways. Case 3, 2 6. You are left with how many runs to score? 13 runs to score. Z is equal to 2. Y is equal to, starting from 0 up until 3. So 4 ways. Case 4, heading 3 6. Z is equal to 3. Y is equal to 0. You are left to score with how many runs? 7 runs. 0 1, 2 ways. Then case 4, case 5 is 4 6s. You have it. Z is equal to 4. The possible value of y would be 0 because you are left to score only 1 run. So y, you are not required to hit any 4, just one single. Sorry, yes, not W, here it is, x is equal to 1. So one way, add them up, number of ways is equal to 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 7 is equal to 19 ways. So this is how you solve this type of questions. You make different cases and you think about, further you break down the problem and you think about possible scenarios and you add all the possible cases, scenarios, and you will get the answer, the number of possibilities, number of ways.